Good evening. Christmas is a time for family, for friends and for neighbours. To be with them, yes, but also to care for them and protect them. This Christmas, once again, we're at a critical moment in our fight against COVID. The new variant Omicron is spreading fast, and the argument that we don't know enough about it doesn't stack up. We may not be certain how dangerous it is, but we do know that lives are at risk. And again, our NHS is at risk of being overwhelmed. If that happens, more people will die. So we must do everything we can to protect the NHS. The scientists are clear. Our best defence is the booster jab. The vaccine is safe and effective. It protects us and those around us. That's why Labour supports the government's plan to get every adult boosted by the end of the month. And personally, I want to urge every one of you to book an appointment or go to a walk-in centre as soon as you can. We must also use this Christmas break to vaccinate children over 12 and stop the spread in schools. If you haven't had your first or second jab, now is the time to come forward. It matters more than ever. And let's face it, a booster for every adult before the end of the month is a big challenge, which is why we argued that the government should have stepped up sooner. But time and time again, the British people have risen to the challenge. So let's pull together now and do the right thing once more. At times like this, we must all put the national interest first and play by the rules. Of course, I understand that sticking to the rules can be inconvenient, but stick to the rules we must. It would be easy to let the festivities we've all been looking forward to divert us from our national duty. Getting jabbed, wearing masks, and working from home if we can really will help prevent infections and help prevent the NHS being overwhelmed. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for everything you've done so far and everything you will do in the coming weeks. Your efforts will save lives. I also want to thank our brilliant NHS workers for their dedication, their skill, and their sheer hard work. We're so fortunate in this country to have the NHS. We must do everything we can collectively to preserve and protect it. We spent the early months of the pandemic applauding the brilliant efforts of the NHS. Now our shared national duty is to stand shoulder to shoulder with our NHS heroes and the committed volunteers supporting them. The Labour Party that I lead will always act in Britain's best interests. The Labour Party that I lead will always do everything within its power to protect the NHS. The NHS that's done so much good since Labour founded it almost 75 years ago. As leader of Her Majesty's opposition, it is my solemn duty to challenge the government where necessary. The health, safety and security of our nation and its people must always be the first priority. That's why we will always support measures designed to protect public health. That includes the measures in Plan B. We are a patriotic party, and it's our patriotic duty to vote for these measures to ensure that they go through. In doing so, we are supporting the NHS and supporting our country. But rest assured, I will still hold the government to account in the coming weeks. That is also in the national interest. Meanwhile, I'm asking all of you to do your bit too. At this time, we need leadership. Leadership that the country can trust. It's a big national effort, and we all have our part to play. Get Britain boosted, protect the NHS, and save lives. And from my family to yours, I wish you a very happy Christmas.
So Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer responding to the Prime Minister Boris Johnson's address to the nation last night about accelerating the booster programme. And our political editor Beth Rigby is here with me. We were discussing what the Labour leader might say before he said it. And Beth, pretty much as expected, not playing party politics, as Sir Keir said there, talking, as he said, in the national interest, but critical of the lack of leadership.
Yeah, I mean, not overtly talking politics, but that was extremely political. Look, on the policy, he urged everyone to book an appointment, so he urging the public to get those boosters. He called on the government to use the Christmas break to vaccinate children over 12. There hasn't been huge take-up for over 12, so calling for a bigger push on that to try and get more secondary school children vaccinated. And then he criticised the government for not stepping up sooner on the rollout. When it came to the politics of it, he didn't outrightly criticise Conservative MPs for rebelling. He didn't openly criticise the Prime Minister, but there was lots of criticism in there when he made the point that the Labour Party he led acted in Britain's best interests. He said that he will always support measures designed to protect public health. He said, we are a patriotic party and it's our patriotic duty to vote for these measures to ensure they go through. And if that isn't a man trying to prove to the public that he is a government in waiting, I don't know what it is.
And quite a prime ministerial tone, it must be said, addressing the British people directly, urging them, as we say there, to get boosted. And even the way that the room was dressed, a direct echo of how we saw Boris Johnson last night.
A direct echo. He had the Union Jack. He had a picture of his family behind. It was a very different look to some of those legal textbooks that in the past he's had. Look, there is a sort of image being built here. You know as well in some of those reports, internal reports about why did Labour lose the last election, a lack of patriotism seen by the public towards the Labour Party and leadership at the time was a big factor in that. And Keir Starmer really trying to build back that impression with the public. I thought also he did criticise Boris Johnson, but he did it in quite a subtle way when he said, at this time, we need leadership that the country can trust. He also said, at times like this, we must all put the national interest first and play by the rules, leaning into two things that he keeps talking about, that this is a Prime Minister that is not trustworthy and that is not playing by the rules and is breaking promises. So that messaging that he pumps out at Prime Minister's question, he's put that into this address, but he definitely sought to rise above overt party politics there and say, well, you had that guy yesterday giving you a national address and here's my attempt, and do you like the look of me? I mean, that was definitely what he was trying to do in that statement tonight.